In this video, I'll be demonstrating how to complete the end of chapter exercise for chapter 4. As you can see, I've already got Expression Web open here, and I've opened up the chapter 4 folder, and then I'm going to go ahead now and double click and open up this default.htm file. So this is the content of the home page that you've been working on in the previous assignment, but it doesn't have all the formatting applied to it. The main focus of this chapter is really how to deal with images in Expression Web, and then also how to create various types of hyperlinks, including hotspots and bookmarks. So the main idea is we'll be creating 5 different pages here that make up this website, and we'll want to create some links then that go to each of those pages. And in addition, we're going to have, as I say, some bookmarks and some hotspots created as well. So the first thing we want to do is we want to get the header image in here on the page. So over here in my folder list, I'm going to open up the images folder, and in that folder you'll see a file called header.gif. So that's the image then that belongs here at the top of the page. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click and hold down on my left mouse button right on that icon, and then I'm going to drag it over into the document area. And if you look closely, you'll see that my insertion point, as I move my mouse around, the insertion point is moving between the various characters here in this paragraph. So wherever that insertion point is when I release my mouse, that's where the image is going to be placed into the document. So I'm going to move up here right before the W in width for the paragraph, and then release my mouse button. And then I get this accessibility properties dialog box. So this is to create the alt tag, or the alt attribute actually, within the image tag. And so since what we're placing here is the company logo for VectaCorp, I'm going to type in VectaCorp logo as the alternate image, and then go ahead and click OK. So now the image appears, but you notice the text is, the original paragraph text is starting right here, right after the end of the image. So I'm just going to now press my Enter key on the keyboard, and that moves it down to a separate paragraph from the one that contains the image up here. Now the next thing that I want to do is, within our image here, I want to create a hotspot, so when the user is viewing our page, if they click here on the VectaCorp logo, it will return them to the home page for the website. And the easiest way to create a hotspot is by opening up the picture toolbar. So I'm going up to the menu bar now, and I'm going to open the View menu. And under the View menu listings, you'll see Toolbars. So this is where you'll find all the toolbars that are available in Expression Web. And the one we're most interested in right now is the Pictures toolbar. So I'll click on Pictures there, and that opens up the Pictures toolbar. Over here on the right end of this toolbar are several different types of hotspots: the rectangular hotspot, the circular hotspot, and the polygonal hotspot. So I think the simplest thing really is just to put a rectangle around that logo. So I'm going to click on the rectangular hotspot here on the toolbar, and then if I move my mouse up into the image area, you'll see that the icon, the cursor, changes to a pencil icon. And so I'm just going to simply click in the bottom right of the logo and hold down my mouse as I drag to the upper left, and just create a rectangle around this logo. When I release my mouse button, I get the Insert Hyperlink dialog box, and all this is asking us to do then is to type in a web address that we want to be taken to when the user clicks in this area of the image on our page. And so in this case, we're just going to take them to the default.htm page, which is our home page for this particular chapter. And that's all we need to do. Type that in, go ahead and click OK. And so our hotspot is created. Let's go ahead and close up the toolbar. And now the next thing we want to do is we want to create links for each of the additional pages that we're going to add here to the site. So we're going to end up having a solutions page, also an About Us page, a Contact Us page, and a support page. So I'm going to move my mouse just to the right of the box here that the image is contained in. I'm going to give it a click to the right there, and I'm going to press the Enter key. And inside of this new paragraph then is where we're going to insert the hyperlinks that will be used to navigate to each of the different pages. Now there's a couple of ways we could do this. We could type in text and separate it by the piping symbol. The piping symbol, by the way, is the key right above the Enter key. If you hold down the Shift key, you'll get that vertical line. And so you can go in here and create each of these navigation items textually, and then just simply create each one as a hyperlink. So these are the 5 different pages we're going to have for this assignment: the home page, the About Us page, Solutions, Support, and Contact Us. So that's one way of doing it, and then the next step would be to select the text that you want to turn into a hyperlink, then you right click on it, you come down here in the context menu to hyperlink, and then you just type in the name of the page that you want to link to. So in this case, the home page again is default.htm, and then just click OK. So you can see that becomes a hyperlink. So as I say, that's one way to do that. Then you just repeat the process for each of these additional textual items that we have there for navigation. But there's an even cooler way to do it, which is to insert buttons in here. So I'm going to delete all of that text. I'm going to go up to the menu bar now, and I'm going to choose to open up the Insert menu. And you'll see that down here towards the bottom of the Insert menu, you have the choice Interactive Button. So go ahead and click on that menu option. That brings open the Interactive Buttons dialog box. And right in the middle here are all different styles of buttons. So you'll see as I click on a different style, watch this graphic here, and it will change to show us different colors. So this is the same style but different colors, and then we come down a little bit further, we've got a different style, and again various colors for each of that particular style. And so on and on as you scroll through this list here, all kinds of different styles, all kinds of different colors for each style. So you can pick the button choice that you like. I'm going to go ahead and just go with this border bottom button here. And so once I have the button type identified, and I would highly recommend you keep that consistent throughout this entire navigation bar. In other words, don't have a different style and different color button for each of the different choices that we're going to put in our navigation bar here. So once you make a choice, just repeat that for the home and the About Us, and each one of these different navigation items we're going to create. So once you've selected the type, now what you do is you come down here where it says text, and you type in the text that you want to appear on the button. So our first button is going to be the home button, and again, if you watch the graphic, it changes as we type that in. And then what do we want to link to? And again, this is the home page, so we're going to have that button, anytime a user clicks on it, take them to the default.htm page. Now you can also get real creative and come in here and change the font that's being used, change the hover color for the text on the button, the alignment of the text on the button, and you can even use a custom image if you choose to by using this tab here. For now I'm going to keep it simple, so I'm just going to have, again, border bottom 1, and then typing in the text and identifying the link that we want the button to link to. I'll go ahead and click OK. Our button now appears here. Our cursor is moved over to the right, so now we're ready to place another button in at that point. If you wanted to, you could even press the space bar to add a space between each button. I'm going to go back to the Insert menu again, and also again select Interactive Button. My previous choice is already selected here. I'm going to now type in About Us as the text for this button. That's going to go to a page that I'm going to name, and we haven't created it yet, but we will be creating a page titled aboutus.htm. Notice there's no space in the file name. Never a good idea to use spaces when you're creating web page file names, or even pictures that are going to be used on a website. So about us, all one word, .htm, that's what this button's going to link to. We'll click OK, and I'm just going to repeat this process now for each of the subsequent buttons that we need. So the next one is Solutions. And that will link to a page that is going to be named solutions.htm. We'll click OK, add our next button. And this button is going to be support, and that will link to support.htm. Now you might be wondering as I type in the link names here, the names of the files, if that's case sensitive, and generally speaking it's not. On some systems, like Sun systems that run the Unix operating system, file names can actually be case sensitive, but you probably won't run into that, so I wouldn't worry too much about the case. In fact, what I find myself doing is just always creating file names in lowercase. So support.htm, that's what the support button links to. Click OK. We've got one more button we're going to create, and that's going to be the Contact Us button. And again, I'm going to create a file that doesn't have a space between the word contact and us. So all one word, contactus.htm, that's the file that this button links to. Okay, so you can see very easily, very quickly, we've been able to create the header on our page, create a hotspot that links to a different page. Well, actually in this case it's the default page, but the user will be able to return to the home page using our hotspot that we've put up here over the VectorCore logo. And then we've got all of our buttons here. Now one thing that you might notice is because we made a hotspot of our image up here, the program in the web browser would be the same, will think that this entire image is a hyperlink, and so it wants to put a blue box around the border there. So what we can do is if we click on the image, we can come over here to the task pane that's named Tag Properties and look for the style attribute here. So down here a little bit there you see the style attribute. I'm going to click just to the right of that, and I'm going to type in a style property, which is the border property, and then put in a colon and assign its value to none. So border colon and then N-O-N-E, none, and you'll see that will remove that blue border then that was previously appearing around our image that has the hotspot in it here. Okay, I think I'll go ahead and save my work at this point. Now when I do a Control S here to go to save, you'll notice that because we have these new buttons on our page, those are actually images. And so right now the program is asking us where we want to save these images to. Now of course we're working in the Chapter 4 folder, so that is where we want the images saved to. If you wanted to, you could go a step further and you could actually click on this button Change Folder, and you could tell it that you want your images inside of the Chapter 4 Images folder. So I find that's a good practice. Keep all of your images in a single folder, the Images folder, within your website. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to click OK now, and you'll see now for folder, underneath the folder column, it says that's where the images will all be saved to, inside of the Chapter 4 folder, and then the subfolder Images. And then over here to the right we have the action, which is the save action. If you needed to modify the action, you could actually select an individual image and then click on this Set Action button, and that would allow you then to change the current action. So since our current action was Save File, then the alternative is Don't Save the File. Sometimes under action, if the file had already been created and the system recognizes a duplicate name, it will say Overwrite. And so if you don't want the file to be overwritten, you come in here and you'll have a Don't Overwrite option. But I do want to save all these files, so I'm not going to make any changes there. So that's it. Notice we could rename the file if we wanted to. It gives us very basic names here, button 3 and 4 and 6. Those are all just dictated by the order that we created the button. So you might actually want to put in the fact that this is the home button, and this is the home button over, and then this is the About Us button, and this is the About Us button over. So that's an option that certainly is up to you to make that change. I'm not really going to worry about it, but I just wanted you to be aware that is a possibility. Okay, so we'll just go ahead then and click OK and have all these images now saved into the Chapter 4 Images folder. Okay, so we've got a couple more things we want to do on this page now. We want to put the subheaders in on this page, and we've got several of them. First of all is the Welcome subheader, which each individual page has its own subheader. So this home page is using the Welcome subheader, so we want to click and drag that right before the first paragraph here, and we're just going to put in as the alternate text what the user would normally see with this subheader, which is the word welcome. And then we'll go ahead and click OK, and then press the Enter key to move that text paragraph down underneath of the welcome header. Then we've got a couple of other subheaders, one for the solutions. Remember, that's the products that this company manufactures, and so we're going to put that header in here, and then also there's some testimonials at the bottom of the page. We've got a subheader for that also. So let's grab the subheader Our Solutions. Don't confuse that with Solutions, because this goes on the Solutions page, but Our Solutions. And so that's the one that we're going to put, and I'm going to actually drag it to right to the end of this first paragraph here. And when I release and add my alternate text, then it should generate a new paragraph for us. So this is the Our Solutions header, so I'm just going to type that in as the alternate text and then click OK. Now actually it didn't create a new paragraph, so I'm going to move my cursor back right before the image, after the period here in the paragraph, right before the image, and then I can just press the Enter key, and that does kick it down here and put it inside of its own separate paragraph. And then we want to grab the Client Testimonials subheader and drag and drop that right here before that quote in this first client testimonial. And again, I'm just going to type in the text that will actually be displayed in the graphic here, the subheader graphic, and go ahead and click OK, and then press Enter to move that text down. So I'll go ahead and save my work at this point. Now you might be tempted, since I said that we want to create these other pages about us and solutions and support and contact us, you might be tempted to create a new page and do this all over again. Throw the logo into the top of the page and then add these buttons up here. I'm going to show you a simpler way to do that, which is take our existing page where we've done all of this legwork already, and then just simply save it as each one of these other page types. And then all we have to do to finish each of those pages will be just change this bottom content area here. So I'm going up to the File menu, and we're going to choose Save As. And the first one is going to be About Us. So I just type in aboutus.htm. Make sure that we're working inside of the Chapter 4 folder here, that it's not saving it somewhere else. And then we'll go ahead and click OK. Actually, you know what? Even before I do that, I need to change the title on this page. And I'm going to type in About Us as the title for that page. Now I'll go ahead and click OK for the title and then save this page. So you see up in the tab here for the open document that we're working on, it no longer says default.htm. It now says aboutus.htm. Our next step then is to make the modifications that we need to make here for the About Us page, and the first thing would be this subheader. We want the Welcome subheader on the home page, but we don't want that on the About Us page. We want this to say About Us on this page. And the easiest way to do that is you come over here to your Tag Properties task pane, and the source attribute for this image here is listed right here, and so to the right of it, it's actually identifying the file that is this welcome image here. So I'm going to click into the entry area to the right of source. Then I'm going to click on this button here. This is called a build button. And when I click on that button, it'll bring open a dialog box that lets me go and point to a different image. So if I open up my Chapter 4 folder and I go into the Images folder, the new image that I want to see here is the subheader About Us.gif file. So I'll select that one, subheader About Us.gif, and click Open. And you'll see immediately it changes that image for us here on this page. Now the rest of this text on this page, this is all the home page text, and so I'm just going to click and drag all the way down to the bottom. Notice it even selects the images that we put in there, the other subheaders. I'm going to get rid of those too, so everything highlighted in blue now when I press the delete key is going to be removed. Now the next thing we'll do is add the text that should be on this page. So if we come back up here in our folder list, inside of this other folder, the Assets folder, inside of Chapter 4, the Assets folder, this is where we're going to find the About Us text. So I'm just simply going to right click. So I'm using the right mouse button, and I right click, hold down on the icon there for where it says About Us text, and I'm dragging that into the document area right below the About Us subheader, and then I release my right mouse button. At this point in time now it's asking us, what do we want to do? Well, we want to insert the contents of this file into the page, so that's the option we'll choose. We get the Paste Text dialog box asking us how we want to insert this text. And if we choose normal paragraphs with line breaks, that will serve our needs. So we'll go ahead and click OK. And so now all of the text has been properly pasted into the page. And the only thing that we might want to change here is that this company overview, we'll go ahead and bold that, and then management team, we'll go ahead and bold that as well. And down a little bit further we see careers, we'll bold that text. And then you'll see we also have the client testimonials again. Now we could just simply go ahead and bold this text. Another possibility might be that you go back here and grab from the images folder that client testimonial subheader. That would be one option. Also, like we did on the front page, the home page, might be a good idea just to select the actual testimonials and change the text style to italics for them. And then I think we'll also then grab the signatures underneath the testimonials and go ahead and increase the indent on each of those. Okay, so that looks like a pretty good formatted page there. Let's go ahead and save our work on that page. Now we want to build the solutions page, so I'm going up to the file menu and I'm going to choose Save As again, so that I can just simply change the document name here and create a new document. So we're going to type in solutions.htm as the name of the new file. Click Save. And then again, the top portion is all going to remain the same. The first thing we want to change then is our subheader. No longer should it read About Us, because now this is the Solutions page. So again, we move back over to our tag properties. We click to the right of the source attribute, click on our Build button, and then make sure you're in the Chapter 4 Images folder. It tells you where you're at up here in the top of this Select File dialog box. And then look for that subheader solutions.gif file. Select it, click Open, and of course the image changes there. Now one thing that's not changing here is the alt text, and so we should really come up here to the right of the alt attribute and type in solutions now as the new alt text. And I should have done that on the About Us page too. I forgot, so I'd have to go back and make that quick fix on that page. Then we're going to get rid of all of this text here. So again, I'm just clicking and dragging all the way down to the bottom of the page. Select it all, press delete to get rid of it. And this time we're going to add the solutions text. So I go back to my folder list, Chapter 4 folder, under the subfolder Assets. I'm going to right-click on the solutions.txt file, drag that into my document area, release the right mouse button, tell it I want to insert the file, and again I want to do so with normal paragraphs with line breaks, and click OK. So now we have each of the different products that they create. So you've got vProspect 2.0, we can go ahead and select that and bold it, and vConvert 2.0, we'll select that and bold it. And then the third one here is vRetain 1.0. We'll select that and bold it. There is, if you look in the images folder, separate logos for each one of the products here. So you'll see logo vConvert, logo vProspect, and logo vRetain. So if you wanted to add those in here, that would be fine too. So for instance, vProspect, we could click and just drag that right before the V in vProspect, and we would just put in vProspect 2.0 as the alternate text, and I might even add the word logo there just to indicate that that is the logo. So that's one way of doing that. I could just press enter here and have the name of the product underneath of the logo. So you know, this is where it kind of gets to personal choice, so I'm not going to be critical in the grading. You know, if you add this to the page or not, you won't get knocked off if you don't add it to the page. But I always encourage you to feel creative in these assignments and try and get a little bit fancy with them if you'd like. So I'm going to drag vConvert in here, type in vConvert 2.0 logo as the alt text, and then I'll just press enter to move that one underneath. And then we'll do the same thing for vRetain here. Drag that logo right to the left of the V, type in the alternate text vRetain 1.0 logo, and click OK. Finish it up with an enter, and that just makes it look a little fancier. Now also under this first paragraph, you'll notice that it ends in a colon here, so that kind of indicates that this is a list of items. And so we'll go ahead and select all of these items here. It won't let me get that first one, so let's try the reverse direction. Alright, so this time it seemed to work a little better if I clicked and dragged at the end of this first, at the end of this last item, and then I held down the mouse button while I drug it all the way up to right before the D there and define. And then we go up to the toolbar, and we just click on the bullets icon there in the toolbar, so that we get this unordered list, this bulleted list here underneath of the vProspect. Now if you go down under vConvert, you'll see same thing there. So again, I'll select all the text underneath of the first paragraph, and then just turn bullets on for that. And then for the last one, same thing, everything underneath of the first paragraph, and assign bullets to it. Okay, so that makes the page look much better. Go ahead and save your work. That's all we're going to do on the solutions document. And so the next thing we want to do is create our next page, which is going to be support. So we'll go up to the file menu, we'll choose save as, type in support.htm, and again make sure you're in the chapter 4 folder, click save. And actually, you know what, I forgot to change the title on that one, didn't I? Let's right click on this, go to page properties. Page properties is where we find the title, and so I want to type in solutions here. I realized, yeah, I didn't do that on, actually this is support. My mistake. So back to page properties. This is support, but I do want to do that on solutions as well. So let me save the change here, and let's go back to our solutions file, open it up, and do the same thing. We'll just right click in a blank area of the page, go to the page properties dialog box here, type in solutions as the title of the page. Okay, so we'll save the changes there. Now let's go back to the support page. This is the new page that we want to be working on. This is the one we just copied. We did a save as from our solutions page. So we want to get rid of the current image. We want to change the image to read support here now. So again, I'm back over to the tag properties just to the right of the source attribute, and I'm going to click in here, click on the build button, and I'm going to look inside again of chapter 4 images, make sure that's what it says here for underneath of select file, and we're going to look for that subheader support. So this time I'll show you a shortcut, which is if I just double click on the file name, that way it saves me from having to click OK on the button at the bottom of the dialog box. And then also, like we did last time, go up here where it says Alt for the attributes under tag properties, go to the right of the Alt attribute and change that to read support. Okay, so now let's get rid of everything else on this page, the logo and all the text then below the subheader. So I've just selected everything. I'm pressing delete on the keyboard. Let's scroll up and look for our assets folder, and inside the assets folder this time we're going to drag the support text into the page. So again, it's a right click. You hold down the right mouse button as you click on the icon here. You're doing so with the right mouse button. You're holding down the right mouse button, dragging it into the page area. And in fact, right here where the underneath of the support subheader, that's where that text wants to begin, so that's where I'll drop it. So as soon as I see the insertion point inside of this paragraph, I'm going to go ahead and release the right mouse button. Again, I choose Insert File. Again, we leave the choice normal paragraphs with line breaks and just click OK. Now on this page here, much later in the book, you'll actually, and we don't cover these chapters in this class, but if you were to go into chapter, I think starting with chapter 10 or 11, they actually create some other pages that you would create links for here, the knowledge base page and the forum page and the patches page. For email a question, however, we can set it up so that when the user clicks on this link, it will open up their email program and put in the appropriate email address. So what we want to do is we want to wipe across the text, email a question. So that should all be in blue, just the bottom line here, email a question. Right click on that selected text, and then down at the bottom of the context menu choose hyperlink. And since this is going to be an email address that we're going to put in here, we have to change underneath of this link to column inside of the insert hyperlink dialog box. You're going to change it from existing file or web page to the option down here at the bottom, the one that says email address. So I'm going to click on that button. Then I type in the email address, and the email address would be support@vectacorp.com. And then if I wanted to, I could even put in a subject. That would be the information that would go in the user's email's subject field. So let's type in here support email. And then we'll go ahead and click OK. So that becomes a hyperlink, and again, that particular hyperlink, when the user clicks on it, will actually open up the email program on the computer, and it'll put in that email address that we typed in there when we created that hyperlink. So that's all we're going to do on this page. Let's go ahead and save it. Control S. And then one more time here, we're going to do a file and a save as. And this time we're going to save this as contact.us.htm. Let's change the title. Contact us. Click OK there, and then go ahead and save the file. So again, we keep the top, the logo, and the buttons, but we're going to change the subheader. So we're back over to the tag properties, going down to the source attribute, clicking to the right of the source attribute, clicking on the build button. Inside of the Chapter 4 Images folder, we're looking for the subheader Contact Us, so I just double click on that, and then I come up to the Alt tag under Tag Properties and Attributes, click to the right of the Alt tag and change that to read Contact Us. Now there is no Contact Us text to put on this page, so what we'll do is we'll just go ahead and select all of the existing text that's here, and we'll press delete, and so we won't worry about putting anything content wise then on this page. So I'm just going to go ahead now and click save. We've now got all of our pages created, so from any page we should be able to preview it in our browser, and by clicking on our buttons here we should be able to navigate to all of the other pages that we've created. So let's check that out. I'm going to press function key 12 on my keyboard. Now when this opens up in Internet Explorer, we're going to get this warning at the top here because there's some JavaScript code, actually I'm sorry, some ActiveX code that wants to run to make our buttons work. So we need to right click here and just say allow blocked content, and then when the security warning dialog box comes up, just go ahead and say yes. We want to run the active content. So we're previewing the Contact Us page. Let's go ahead and click on the support button, and now we're looking at the support page. We've got support in the title bar. Click on the solutions button, and now we're on the solutions page. We've got solutions up here in the tab. Click on About Us. We've got About Us in the tab. We're looking at the About Us page, and I'll click on the Home button and see that's our Welcome to Vector up there in the tab. Here of course is the content of the home page. Now let's click to one of the other pages and check our hotspot here. Let's move our mouse up to the logo in the image and click on it and make sure that returns us to the home page, and it does. Now I've got just a couple more things that I want to do here. First, I need to make that correction on our About Us page for the alt tag. So I'm going to reopen About Us, select that subheader, and then go here down into the tag properties, and for the alt attribute we'll type in About Us and save that change. So that fixes that page. And then lastly, I think we'll just create a couple of bookmarks on our default page that point to the solutions, the 3 products that the company makes on the solutions page. So on the default page, remember that we have this subheader, Our Solutions, and then we have each of the products listed. So what we want to do is we want to create links out of these product names and then have them point to, and let's go back to our Solutions tab here, our Solutions document, have them point to the actual products here on the Solutions page. So it's basically a 2-step process when you create a bookmark. First you have to bookmark the items that you want to create links to. So I'm going to select the or actually I want to click right before the V and V prospects here and insert a bookmark right before that point in the page. So we'll go up to the Insert menu, we'll choose Bookmark, and the name of that bookmark is going to be V Prospect. We'll click OK. Now if I move the scroll bar down, we can click right before the V and V Convert here. And sometimes it's hard to get, so I'm going to use my arrow key and move that insertion point over there. Back up to the Insert menu, choose Bookmark again, type in V Convert for the name of that bookmark, and you'll see down below here it's collecting all of the bookmarks that we're creating here. We'll use that to our advantage when we go to create the hyperlinks. And then one more bookmark, this one for V Retain, so I'm clicking just to the left of the V in V Retain. Back up to the menu bar, opening up Insert, clicking on Bookmark, and then typing in V retain. Now bookmarks are case sensitive, so make sure you pay attention to how you type in the bookmark, because you'll have to type it in exactly the same when you create the link to it. Although the advantage is, as I said, the program is keeping track of these bookmarks for us, so actually when we get to the hyperlink dialog box, we'll just be able to select the bookmarks that we've created here. So click OK. We've got our 3 bookmarks created. I'll save this document. So now that we have the bookmarks created, I'm going to go back to our default.htm page and make hyperlinks out of each one of the solution product names. So I'm going to select vProspect20, the text, and then right click on it, choose hyperlink. And remember earlier I had you change where it says link to in this left hand column here in the insert hyperlink dialog box. I had you change to email address. So we want to go back now to existing file or web page, and now over to the right there's a button that says bookmark on it. Go ahead and click on the bookmark button, and you won't see the bookmarks here because we're not identifying the page yet. So what you have to do is double click on chapter 4, so highlight solutions here, and then click on the bookmark button. That shows you now the bookmarks that are inside that we created in the solutions.htm file. So since this is vProspect, I'm going to click on the vProspect bookmark, click OK, and then I'll close up the Edit Hyperlink dialog box by clicking OK. Now same thing for vConvert. We select the text first, then we right click on it, choose Hyperlink, we highlight the solutions file here in the middle, make sure it's the chapter 4 solutions file, and then click on the bookmark button on the right, and then we choose vConvert, the bookmark. We click OK twice, and then one last item here, and this is the vRetain product. Select the text, right click, choose hyperlink, make sure solutions is selected because that's the file that contains the bookmarks, and then we click on the bookmark button, we click on the vRetain bookmark and click OK twice. Now we'll save our home page here and then press function key 12 to preview it in the browser. And we'll go ahead and click on vRetain, because when Solutions opens up, well, we could click on vProspect, but you'll see that it does bring it down a little bit, but you don't see it all. Let me right click and allow block content here. So, you know, it did jump down to this point. It didn't open the page like it normally would, like with the logo at the top. It did come down here and bring us to vProspect. In fact, there's so little text on this page, you don't see a lot of difference by clicking on each one of these. So you'll see there's not much difference even when I click on vRetain now. See, we are down at the bottom of the page at this point, so it can't go any further down. So the bookmarks in this case aren't the most advantageous method to getting to the page, because each of the bookmarks basically in this case will put it at this position. But if you had a longer page, you know, you had like maybe a list of glossary items and there's thousands of items, then you know the bookmarks can come in very handy. So that is the assignment for chapter 4, and if you have any questions, of course, send me an email to bbennett@msjc.edu. I'd be happy to help you with any problems that you run into.